welcome Randy Fields.
Good morning, buddy.
Man, it's really good to have you.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
This has been one that I've been looking forward to for a whole multitude of reasons. So the world knows, like, you have been in my life in an amazing part of my life, and I'm trying not to get emotional. There are people that come into your life that actually change the trajectory of your life, and you are one of those for me.
That's awesome to hear. Thank you.
Your mentorship, your leadership, your ability to physically not just connect with me as a human on this planet, but to help me navigate the waters of the business as well as the personal life. And I just love doing life with you. So, and I've got a lot of respect for you and what you do, and doing it not because you have to do it.
Right.
So we're going to get into some topics here that I want to make sure the world knows, because right now you are the number one Vistage Chair in the world.
Okay.
Correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So when you look at, and I got to witness this with you in January.
Oh, that's right.
In California, and they brought you on stage, and it was a pretty cool experience to be a part of that with you. But I want to get into like your journey before this, like why Vistage. I want you to tell the world, because it's an interesting story, because you don't have to do this,
right?
Because you've been wildly successful before Vistage.
Okay.
So tell the world, like, how did you get here?
Well, one of the things that I always talk about is I was in the medical device industry for almost 30 years. Started out as a sales rep, and then in 1989 started my first company. And from there, we were basically a distribution channel for spinal implant companies and then for orthopedic implant companies. And we had sales reps scattered over multiple states, Kentucky, Tennessee, Indiana, part of Ohio, some in West Virginia, and some in Southern Illinois and Southern Indiana. So that's really kind of was my start as a business owner. And me, myself, and I started the business in the basement of our house, and was probably not the smartest thing to do. We incorporated March of 1989, and our first child was born on March the 19th of 1989.
Like a new business and a new baby.
Yes, all at the same time. And
God bless Sherry, by the way.
Yes. My wife, Sherry, is unbelievable.
Yes.
And it's a journey that we did together, right, in this process. And we were able to, one of the big things that happened for me was being able to join a Vistage group as a member. Mm-hmm. And that was a huge part of my success and development as a leader, as a business owner, because we all know there is not a book to tell you, here's the 5 steps to become a successful business owner. Yeah. Now, there's a lot of theoretical things that are out there in literature that you can look at and say, well, I read Jim Collins' book, or I read Adam Grant's book, or, right. But to really do it day in and day out, make the hard decisions, that's a pretty lonely seat. Yeah. And so my chair, my Vistage chair, Bill Houston, is still a great friend, mentor in life. He literally lives 4 houses down from me today. And I leaned into him a ton in my early years. Mm-hmm. So I was a Vistage member for 16 years in his group. Mm. A part of that journey, I got to watch 3 or 4 different companies in my group sell. So I had the opportunity to sell my first business in 1999, and then I was able to sell my second business in 2007. And being a part of that Vistage group here in Louisville was a huge development thing for me. Just the friendships that I had in the 16 to 17 other business owners that I could talk to and share life with and share frustrations with. And then also, be challenged to think differently on a monthly basis when we had our monthly meetings. Oh, yeah.
So you were a part of this Vistage community, because I've been a part of this now for, 7 or 8 years.
8 years, yes.
Thanks. What you identify, to your point, is like you don't realize what you're missing,
right,
when you're in that seat by yourself.
I tell people all the time, your best friend, right? And I always ask that question of a new CEO or business owner I'm talking to, who's your best friend? And they tell me, and I said, okay, so my question for you is, does your best friend know how much money you made in 2025? And nobody sits around and talks about that.
Right.
Where do you celebrate that we had $1 million in net revenue in the month of January or February, or any other personal issues? Sometimes we don't even share with our best friends. You end up sharing that within the Vistage group because it creates a cone of silence and a very confidential group of business leaders that are in the same seat you are. And that's sometimes a very lonely seat.
Yeah. Well, and to your point, the celebration thing is amazing. Bigger for me was the fact that it gave me the confidence to go out into the world. Meaning, I always thought there was something mysterious about these people that started and owned and ran businesses at the executive level. Like, oh my gosh, like who are they must have something that I don't have.
Well, usually it's something missing in the DNA chain of logic.
Especially on the entrepreneur side. Right. If you want to go start something from scratch, there's definitely something missing in my DNA chain.
What?
Yeah. And you take that, though, and you look at, I remember sitting in the room vividly with these wonderful people that I'd gotten to know for many years. And then I started asking myself, thanks to you, was like, hold on, what do they have that I don't? And it's like, well, I don't have anything that I don't. It's like they took the risk.
Right.
They took the step. And I think the vast majority of the world that thinks about it but doesn't physically fulfill it is because of that one step that they fail to take that could set them off on a new journey.
Right.
And that's a scary place to be. But when you're surrounded by a group of people that love and that you trust, yeah, man, there was something really special about that time for me.
That is the uniqueness of a Vistage group, and part of the reasons I do the work that I do. Having the opportunity to watch other business owners in 2004, 5, and 6 sell their businesses was a huge benefit for me as a leader. One of the steps along that journey was I was challenged to read the book called Halftime. And Halftime, the author is Bob Buford, and he talks about going from success to significance. What are you going to be remembered for?
Right.
Right. And that book had a huge impact on my journey as a leader. And I actually went to the Halftime Institute in Dallas, Texas. Bob was still alive. And I developed a friendship with Bob at the 3-day conference, really just loved what he was talking about and what are you going to do next in life? Right. I retired in 2007 for about 9 months, played 55 rounds of golf with a bunch of old guys because I was 49 at the time and these guys were in their 60s, which I am now in my 60s. And I thought there's got to be more to life than this for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
And so part of your Vistage experience as a CEO, you get an individual coaching session with your chair. My chair, Bill Houston, in one of our sessions said, why don't you become a Vistage chair? Because it matches your passion, your purpose. And so I do this now because I want to, not because I have to.
Yeah.
I love doing this.
It's one, you're incredibly equipped for it. Two, you have a heart for other people like I've never seen. Quick pause. If you're in a leadership group like Vistage, you're probably talking about AI. Where do we start? How do we make it useful? How do we prove ROI? How do we get our people to actually use it? That's exactly where vSimple comes in. vSimple is the AI-powered software that helps companies get real work done faster, more precisely, with less effort and better visibility. We help you start with a real business problem, implement quickly, train your team, support your people, and expand over time. So AI stops being a conversation in the boardroom and starts creating value inside the business. Go to vsimple.com. vSimple is where work gets done. Your ability to attract another human to you is something that is quite unique. But when you look at that attraction, and then because some people have that and they have it becomes a friendship, and yours is like, it becomes a brotherhood.
Right.
Like it's the people that you are close to that I know are all like family, or we feel like family.
Right.
It becomes so when you start thinking about what you're doing more than Vistage. Like it is, yes, that is the platform that you have. But I commend you on the fact that you're doing life. Like it's personal for you.
Right. Very, very. And one of the things that, right. So one of my, I am a faith person. So one of my founding principles is my belief in that. And if you look at all the long-term studies, that people that live longer have great friend groups. And it's really just, you've got to have people, you got to have community.
Yeah.
And the Vistage group becomes community.
Yeah.
The oldest Vistage member retired from Vistage recently. He was a 50-year member and he was 95 years of age. He was still paying dues after 50 years and loved his group, right?
Yeah.
So that's really cool to see that community, because it's a unique community that not everybody has.
Yeah.
And trying to explain it to people, and you're in one of the groups. I mean, close knit group, right?
Oh yeah.
And it's really cool. So I think fostering the environment, and that's just really kind of who I am. My dad, mom taught. Our house was an open door policy. There was always somebody at the dinner table. And my wife, Sherry's unbelievable, because I could call her right now and say, "Oh, honey, can I bring over Buddy and Taylor and the kids for dinner tonight at 6:30? Actually, Bob Anderson, the Vistage speaker, is staying with us tonight. I told her last night. So
she's an angel.
She's an angel. She's an angel. And so that's that team effort. That's that community effort. That's the doors open.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
here's what I want to get into, because we set the stage of, how you got to here. I think what's really interesting is here into the future.
Right.
Because you're seeing it, and it's part of the Vistage talk track, but it's very much in the camp of the world that we live in, which is right now there is a unique moment in time where leadership is being challenged like it's never been challenged before.
Right.
And you get to work with leaders from all kinds of different walks of life and different industries and different size organizations. And so you see it at just about every level.
Right.
And I want to hear from you on your unique perspective on what are you seeing in the leadership moment when you look at artificial intelligence and the transformation of work, as well as trying to figure out how to lead these companies well into the future.
Yeah, that's I think right now in some of the terminology I've been considering is it's a decade-long change. So when you think about the next decade, and let's say, all right, we're 2026, what does this look like in 2036? Very different. And that 10 years of change will be different than any other 10-year of change we've had probably since the computer came out.
Yeah.
And I think that the CEOs, owners, founders who are flexible and willing to change and willing to adapt early, I don't think you have to be an early adapter, because there's a lot of stuff that's circling out here right now. And there's a lot of stuff that's not proven.
Yeah.
So we're looking for tools that are proven tools that actually will work functionally, not just theoretically. So I think that challenges leaders, right? And we've sent out recently two podcasts from two CEOs of major corporations that are in their early 60s and have led the organization for the last 10 years and are now stepping aside saying, I'm not the person to go to the next level with AI, which is humbling on their part, right? Because most guys, and guys is generic for me, most leaders they have to be taken out of the seat versus giving the seat up. And these two guys of large corporations have given their seats up to the next level to say, okay, this other person can take us into the AI future.
Yeah.
And that's a whole different animal.
And that's where I think it's the leadership challenge probably of a century. Like this is one of those moments in time. Yeah. And you're talking about two wildly successful CEOs. Like, this is not, we were marginally successful trying to figure it out and realize like, I'm probably not the person. It's like up to this point, they've been wildly successful.
Wildly successful.
And they're looking at the future going, I'm not equipped to lead this company into the future. Which is interesting to hear, which is, to your point, it's got to be incredibly humbling for them as executives with organizations that have had enormous runs. But it's also a tell for, I think, leadership in general in this moment.
Right.
Which is, this is a moment to take notice. Like, this is where leadership is going to be challenged, because it's not just an artificial intelligence thing. It's a complete operational transformation thing.
Right. How do we rethink the way we do business differently than we ever have before? And how do we take the tools that are available to us and start implementing them? You know, everybody right now, so I work with about 48 different companies, all different sizes, from a couple million in revenue all the way up to about $1.5 billion.
Yeah.
And from, 10 employees to 3,500 employees.
Mm-hmm.
And watching the different leaders adapt to this has been very interesting over the last year and a half. And from your own personal group, we're talking about it monthly, pushing on this. And it's been interesting to see the people that are saying, okay, we're going to create a team of 1, 2, 3, 10 people. And how do we incorporate AI into our operations, to everything that we're doing?
Yeah.
And I've got some people that aren't jumping in as early as I want them to. So they're not an early adapter. And that's okay. But they know it's on the radar screen, that they've got to start doing something with it.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty dramatic change when you can upload a set of construction drawings and ask it to do takeoffs for you.
Oh, absolutely.
And we're seeing some of that already. You can upload legal documents and it will spit out, right?
Yeah.
We had one company recently, which is really cool. We uploaded a book written by a Harvard professor on negotiations, because he was stuck with how to buy out a partner. And so we said, okay, book is called Split the Difference.
Mm-hmm.
So he uploaded the book, uploaded his most recent contract to the partner and said, hey, Chad, help me come up with a solution to buy my partner out.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah.
And he closed the deal, which is crazy, right?
And the amount of money he'd have to pay to a consultant to come in and
Correct.
help them facilitate that.
Correct.
Yeah. And the time he'd have to spend to execute that. So what do you...
I think it took about 25 seconds for chat to spit out a response, which is scary.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You take something that would normally take months now down to a few days by
Right.
the time he digested and then put together and then it's but that's what we're seeing it every single day advance at a clip that I've never seen any type of technology advance.
Well, and I've had the opportunity and the joy to be with you and V Simple in this journey, and watching, I know at ProLift here locally, Chris Frazee, the CEO, was in one of our Vistage groups, and watching just the time savings that they were able to do at ProLift with your all's AI-powered product, which has been crazy to watch, right? Yeah. To create operational efficiencies. We've got another client. I actually played golf with him yesterday, George.
Yeah.
And he is historically not an early adapter, but he has jumped in with, I think he's done a cannonball in the deep end.
Yeah, yes.
With your product. And it's been crazy to watch the success of that within his organization, the way he is out now creating testimonials for you. It's really cool to see.
Yeah. And on your side, because it is fun. You look at the opportunity that we have in this moment, it creates, and I think this is where the divergence comes. It's like the leaders that get excited about this moment are the ones that are going to win the future.
Right. Right.
The leaders that stand still and hesitate and then stop. This literally is one of those moments in time where not only are you going to get passed up, but your ability to physically survive as an organization, no matter how wildly successful you've been and how long you've been in business, Because what AI is forcing every leader to do is reevaluate their organization top to bottom.
Right.
It's not just because the examples are fantastic. Like those are really interesting ways to use technology to help facilitate an outcome. What's happening now, and this goes back to this, like the AI puzzle, which is like, how do you actually get it into the organization and rebuild the organization so it's AI first?
Right.
And what we're doing and what we're seeing and what we're helping organizations accomplish is this reconfiguration, which is like, oh my, like this is real transformation. And you start looking at the organizations that have been around for a long time. We're calling it pre-AI and post-AI. So pre-ChatGPT, post-ChatGPT. The companies that are pre-ChatGPT, which is still like 99% of the organizations in the world, are grouped together and organized as people doing work.
Right.
Because that's the only option they had. And so you're stuck with this structure that is not really conducive for the technology itself, because you have people executing things, all over the place. You have data all over the place. You have most of the organizations with still paper passing around, like lots of voicemails and phone calls. Like the organizational structure is vastly different if you were going to start this business today. So the post-AI business startups that are coming into the world now that are utilizing in their technology first.
Right.
So they're like, before we hire any humans, what can we get this technology to execute? So you're going to see the structure, and you're talking about a 10-year horizon, which I think is appropriate. So if you look 2036, the structure of the organizations that started post ChatGPT are going to be wildly different.
No, I think in most organizations, and one of the things I'm challenging all of my CEOs is when you start looking at a 5-year plan, EOS does a 10-year plan.
Yeah.
Creating an organizational chart, in my mind, is that there should be an AI function, AI box in all functional areas of the company.
Yeah.
So that maybe it is a person that's directing it, or maybe it's just an AI bot that's doing something for you.
Yeah.
How do we incorporate that into our thinking long term?
That's right.
And, I've got several examples of companies that have created teams to look at how do we take AI, and it's a pretty significant investment. You're talking somewhere between $120,000 and $250,000 that some of these teams have been put together for companies. And one of the CEOs came back to me recently and said, okay, we spent 8 months. I'm not really seeing a lot of progress. Mm-hmm. Was this the right investment? And the next month they're going, oh, okay, we found this. We're going to do this. We see it's going to save us at least, 25 man hours on a weekly basis. Mm-hmm. So you start monetizing that out. Yep. So watching people experiment, I don't think we have the answer today. But I think we all have to be trying to figure out what are the areas that we can functionally use it within our group. We're doing a scale-up podcast with Vistage in 2 weeks on how to use AI as a Vistage Chair.
Good for you guys.
So it'll be interesting to see what comes out of that podcast.
I'll be anxious to listen to that one. That'll be good. But what you're talking about is it's the reason why we call our podcast Work Smarter. It's the whole premise is forever these organizations, specifically, and I'm talking about mid-market industrial, you get into the Fortune 500, Fortune 1000, it's a different story. But up until then, you have this ability to go like, hey, there's a lot of pride in what we do. And we really just work hard to get things done.
Right.
And that's not going to win the future. Like you're going to have to work smarter. And the question I have for you, which I know is something that you are very well equipped to answer because of the diversity of leadership that you see. What are the common traits of these leaders that you see that will win the future?
Okay, great question. I think talking about George jumping into the deep end.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just have to take the nesty plunge, so to speak, that we're going to jump off the cliff and we're going to go in this direction. And I think as an entrepreneur, that's really one of the biggest challenges that you face is just taking that first step. And people that are incorporating AI into their groups, into their organizations, into their companies, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you got to be smart about it because there's a lot of noise and chatter that, oh, I can do this, I can do that. And then people do it and, oh, that didn't work. And then, well, okay, I'm going to write off AI. That's totally the wrong way. I think it's how do we use it, continue to play with it, and we don't have the answers yet. And I think that's where I sent out a graph recently to the groups that talk about here are the functional areas we think AI can do across all different market segments. Yeah. And it's a huge map, but then if you look at what's really happening, that's a much smaller map. Oh, yeah. Now, the opportunities are huge. We've got to experiment with it, but you don't want to be a late adapter to this.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want to be the guy who still has a BlackBerry.
Yeah, and we're seeing it play out in real time. And what's interesting to us is that there's acknowledgement from every leader that we interact with that, oh yeah, I need to do something. But what we're seeing is there's this divergence or bifurcation of this, like the group that's saying we need to do something and we are, and the other group that's saying we need to do something and we're paralyzed because we're not exactly sure what to do.
Yeah, I've got one CEO right now in his company. He is just drinking from a fire hose with AI and pulling his team along with him is a really hard pull. It's frustrating him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because his team is used to doing their work the way they've done it for the last 20 years. Mm-hmm. And trying to get that mindset of change. And that's one of the things that we always look at, especially from becoming a new Vistage member. Do you have a change mindset?
Yeah.
Right. And it goes back to this concept of a fixed mindset or a growth mindset. Yep. And I think in watching the growth mindset leaders makes a big difference in their adapting to AI and how early they adapt.
Yeah. So, well, you start looking at the leadership challenge. It's not just the technology, to your point. It is literally a complete change management operation now. Quick pause. Let me say this for anyone running EOS. EOS gives your company clarity, but clarity only matters if the work gets done. vSimple is the AI-powered software that helps EOS run companies turn process into progress, priorities into action, and accountability into completed work. And we make adoption practical. We help you start with the work that matters most. Implement quickly, train your team, and support your people every step of the way. So you don't have to transform everything at once. You can start, prove value, and build momentum. If you want your company to run the way you designed it to run, go to vsimple.com. vSimple is where work gets done. Like you're going to have to manage change at a level that you've never had to as a leader. Which is, and you know this, the hardest thing for a leader to actually execute. Because a lot of these organizations have been around for a long time and they've got people that are comfortable doing what they do every day. Yeah, and 20 years has gone by and they're, but buddy, what are we going to do with this spreadsheet?
Buddy, don't ask me to change because we've done this way for the last 20 years. Well, right? And I think that's where great leaders have this whole mindset. The culture is change.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I think the people that really drive that within their organizations, the culture of the company should be changed. That really should be the number one priority.
Yeah.
If we're doing it the same way we did it last month, 6 months ago, 2 years ago, then we're not improving.
That's exactly right.
Right.
And it's not, and what's interesting to me, and this is not change for change's sake, right? Like this isn't like, oh, we've got a culture that we've built of change, so we just continue to evaluate and improve. Like this is change that is the value creation for the individual sitting in the seat doing the work is enormous. The value creation for the organization, the enterprise value is going to be enormous. And then the value creation for the customers that they have is going to be enormous. So this is like, it's not just change because we can get incrementally better. It's change because we have this unique moment in time to advance our organization, our people, the value we create for our clients and the industries we serve, unlike any other time in the history since maybe to your point, computers, but also, if you were in the Industrial Revolution and you actually now have machines working instead of just humans.
Well, it's if you go back to the turn of the century, 1900s, and you took a photo of New York City down on Main Street, there were probably 2 automobiles to the 3,000 buggies and horses on that street.
Yep.
10 years later, there was maybe 2 horses and buggies, and the rest were the Model Ts.
Yeah. Yep.
And so that's, to me, the revolutionary change that we're facing today is kind of in that 10-year span from 1900 to 1910.
Yeah.
When you look at that. And that was a very dramatic photo. There's lots of illustrations of that in different business books. And that's a very dramatic change. I think we're at that dramatic change
yes.
in our world today. And you as a leader, what are you doing, right? Are you playing with chat on a daily basis? Are you doing right? What are you working with? Are you right?
Yeah.
I mean, what tools do you have that you're challenging your team to look at and play with and work with?
Yeah. In the experiments should lead to breakthroughs, right? It's this like, hey, we encourage experiments here, right? Like this is what we should be doing all day, every day is what can this technology physically evolve? But then there comes a point, and this is, I know Vistage is wonderful at this, but the world needs to hear this too, that you have to do the hard thing.
Yeah. Well, it's accountability. That's one of the reasons I love what I get to do is the leader has to hold somebody accountable to say, so what have you done?
That's right.
Last week, last month, last 6 months, and where are you implementing this new trial? And let's fail fast, right? So let's keep trying and we'll get something right. It will become, and we've seen it in different companies where we know this tool is effective.
Yeah. And you start looking at the effectiveness and then the hard thing. What it leads people down this path of is like, okay, we are going to have to transform. And that's part of what, as a leader in an organization, you're sitting down going, okay, like buckle up. And here's the thing, right? I think every leader is at that moment in time where is that you? Are you the person that can physically spend the next 5 to 10 years rebuilding the organization to ensure its short and long-term success?
Right.
And if it's not you, now's the time to tap out.
Right.
Right. Like now's the time to be like, hey, guys, this is well beyond maybe to your point, like everybody has their like ceilings, meaning like, okay, I'm in my 70s now and I don't like, this isn't what I want to do.
You and I've talked, and you've heard me talk about this, the cliff of 2030 or 31, whichever economist you've listened to. And I think, one of the things we've talked about within our groups or all of my CEO groups is that, there's a cliff coming at some point. What happens with Social Security and, what's going to happen when that hits the fan. And so are you ready for that? And we've told people you need to either sell by 2029 or be ready to go through 36. And I think this is the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Are you willing to lead through this journey? And we're talking about a 10-year grind of having to make some hard decisions. Yeah. But that's where that's where a Vistage group comes in from an accountability standpoint. Yeah. Because I'm one of the few people that get to say, hey, buddy, did you really do this?
That's right.
Okay. If not, why?
Yes, and you're really good at that, by the way. When you look at the leaders that you work with on a regular basis, and then you don't have to name names, but we talked about these are some common traits that they physically have, and maybe this is the way that they look at the world because it's the glass half full opportunity, not the glass half empty. Like, I'm going to have to transform my business to win the future. It's like, no, this should be the most exciting time to ever own and lead a business. Should be hands down hard stop in the story.
Right.
When you look at your next 5 to 10 years of working with these leaders, what do you see the challenges on your side?
I love watching when we have a challenging speaker come in, and I've got one of my CEOs over there, and he's just rubbing his forehead, and you can just see he's going, yeah, I really need to do that. And I think that's what I want. That's the reaction I want. I want everybody to rub their forehead for AI, to go, okay, this is important. What's my next step? And that's what I'm looking for from the people I work with. That's what all leaders should be thinking. What is my next step? If there's not a next step with AI, then you probably need to step down.
Yeah. Yep. That's a very fair statement. I also think that now more than ever, and this might sound like a Vistage commercial, but at the end of the day, it's the truth. If it's not Vistage, find a mentor, peer. You need a coach. You need somebody that's going to help navigate these waters, because without that, I don't know how you survive this in any way, be successful.
Yeah, I am a huge fan of peer mentoring and coaching, whatever flavor of organization you think is the best for you. But accountability is super important. And you've seen it with us, even within our relationship, right? I'm your friend. I'm your coach. Our wives know each other well, right? And just holding each other accountable is huge, whether personally, professionally, spiritually, whatever that may be, is so important. To look somebody in there and say, okay, did you do that? You said you're going to do that. What did you do?
Yeah. And we share something with faith, and there is something that, you look at the world and you have this unique moment in time and this opportunity, and this is God stuff. Like, this isn't, people, how'd you start? It's like, I'm not that smart. This is very much a camp of like, this is God working. And we're just stewards of this and trying to figure out how to help organizations and leaders win into the future and help their employees have better jobs and help their communities drive better outcomes.
Right.
And that's what's so much fun. And why I'm so thankful that you do what you do, that you didn't decide just to hang it up and go down to Florida and play golf every day, that you decided to pour back into business leaders all over our region, because our region is much better because of you. So thank you.
It's my pleasure.
I love you, man.
Love you too, brother.
Appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
Always. Hey, everyone. I'm Buddy Bockweg, and welcome to the W.rkSmarter podcast. This channel is all about real conversations around leadership, business, systems, growth, and figuring out how to work smarter in a world that keeps getting more complex. If that sounds like something you're into, I'd love for you to subscribe. Follow along and share the channel with someone you think would enjoy the conversations as well. Also, hit that little bell notification and get notified when future videos are published. We'll see you in the next one.